Hello, and welcome to the University of New Mexico General Surgery Residency Program introduction video. My name is Jasmeet Paul. I am the program director for this residency, and I want to give you guys a overview of our program. I like to do this in video form so you can review this at your leisure and listen to me at whatever speed you want and get all the information. And we'll have plenty of time for questions during the interview, but I want to give you guys the baseline information that you need about us. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the program, I do want to talk to you a little bit about New Mexico. Most people, myself included, don't really know much about New Mexico until they come here and start exploring. This really is a beautiful state with a really unique geography, culture, and it's almost a world unto itself. The New Mexico Tourism Board has a really great website that lists all the spectacular places that you can go visit across the state. My family and I have been checking things off of our list over the last 10 years, but we haven't even started to scratch the surface of all there is to see and do here. A little bit about New Mexico itself. Here's a cartoon version of the state, kind of giving the landmarks. New Mexico is a big state. We are the fifth largest state. It's 120,000 square miles. And just for some context of that, of how big that is, you can fit the entire island of England and all of the New England states inside of New Mexico and still have room left over. There are 5 national forests. We have one in our backyard here in Albuquerque. There are 20 national parks and monuments across the state. We have 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. We have 6 out of 7 Merriam's Life Zones. The only one we don't have is rainforest. Lots of history here. Santa Fe is the nation's oldest capital, and the Taos Pueblo is the nation's oldest continuously inhabited community. We have 310 days of sunshine here in Albuquerque, and we're one of the few states that has a state question, which is red or green, and I'll get into that in a little bit. A little bit about the population here in New Mexico. Even though we are a very large state, there's only about 2 million people that live here. Most of the state, besides Albuquerque and Santa Fe, and probably Las Cruces, is considered to be frontier county, so it's even less densely populated than rural areas. We have a majority-minority population in the state. 40% of people self-identify as white, 40% as Hispanic, 10% as Native American, a little bit more than 2% Black, and 8% other. And we have a very rich Native American and Indigenous culture here. There are 19 designated pueblos within the state, a lot of them in the northern part around where Albuquerque is. And there are 3 reservations, including a significant portion of the Navajo Nation, which extends into Arizona and Utah. The University of New Mexico is the flagship institution for the state of New Mexico. We are the state's only MD medical school, and we have a very unique mission within the state. I just want to tell you a little bit about the rest of the campus, and then I'll talk a little bit more about the medical school. The campus is divided into North and South Campus. South Campus is the main part of the university with all the undergraduate and graduate programs you would expect, including all of the research facilities and business school that compose a major research institution. The North Campus has the law school and our health sciences center, which comprises of a school of pharmacy, nursing, public health, and a school of medicine. Our school of medicine has about 100 medical students per class. And our medical students are mostly from the state of New Mexico. And as I mentioned, our institution, given that we are the only major hospital in the state of New Mexico, our main focus is to take care of the patients in New Mexico. And I paraphrase our mission to be to serve the underserved people of New Mexico, and to train the next generations of physicians and surgeons to serve them. Everybody who's here is here because of the mission. They believe in it. And all the actions that the school and the institution takes is there to serve the mission. A little bit more about the hospital. As I mentioned, we're the only academic center in the state. We are really the only tertiary or quaternary hospital. We are the state's only level 1 ACS verified trauma center. We've held that designation for over 25 years. We're the only NCI cancer center, stroke center, children's hospital, you name it, we are that for the entire state. So we really serve as critical infrastructure for the state of New Mexico. We just opened up a brand new state-of-the-art tower, which is called the Critical Care Tower. This opened the first week of October, so we're about 5 or 6 weeks into this new facility. We have a brand new emergency department on the bottom floor with 4 really great trauma bays. There are 18 brand new operating rooms, 2 hybrid suites where you can do combined vascular and open operations, and 96 new ICU beds. We're actually in the process of remodeling the old ICUs so that we'll have 10 more ORs hopefully ready in the next year or so, and then remodeling all the old ICUs into patient care spaces. This critical care tower was a huge project for the state of New Mexico. It was actually the most expensive project that the state has ever undertaken, and we're all extremely proud of it. And I can't wait to show this off to you guys when you come and work here. I'm going to have these little breaks in the presentation so I can talk to you a little bit about New Mexico and its culture. And I think the best way to learn about a place is through its food. So we'll talk about New Mexican food first. Now, the most important thing to realize and remember about New Mexican food is that it is not Mexican food. There are some similarities and overlaps, but there are unique dishes, ingredients, and cooking styles that make this food New Mexican food. The hallmark of New Mexican food is the use of red and green chili. We grow green chili on the southern part of the state in the Hatch Valley. Those chilies can be used right away when they're fresh, or they can be dried and turned into red chilies as seen here in this picture. And many folks will put these red chilies together into these beautiful hangings called ristras, which you'll see across the state. Some of the unique dishes that you'll see here in New Mexico are chili rellenos, sopapillas, Frito pies, Indian tacos. And then the other thing that you'll see is that they put green chili on everything. And my absolute favorite thing to eat here in New Mexico is a green chili cheeseburger. Once you have one of those, you'll never eat a regular cheeseburger again. Some highlights of the program. All right, so first off, we have the best residents in the country. People come here because they want to take care of a difficult patient population, serve the underserved, and learn how to be independent, great surgeons. And everybody who comes here develops into that. They have lots of cases, over 1,100 major cases. And I'll give you a breakdown of that a little bit later on. Our residents go into fellowships, and about a third to close to a half recently go directly into community practice. We have a very diverse patient population. We've worked hard to develop a respectful and supportive culture. And we really want to focus on developing you not just as a surgeon, but as a great human being and as a leader. And we offer a residence as educators course. We have leadership training and a structured mentorship program to help our residents meet all of their goals. One of the hallmarks of the program is fairly early and progressive autonomy in taking care of patients, seeing consults, developing plans, and ultimately doing cases with faculty supervision, but with the residents leading the operation. We do offer mock oral boards for our fourth and fifth year residents in preparation for the real thing. And we have 2 years of research which are optional for anyone who wants to take it, typically 1 resident per year. And there's lots of research opportunities to do during your clinical time as well. I do want to introduce the program leadership besides myself. I have 4 excellent associate program directors who are all extremely involved in the program. Dr. Bela Makbul, who is a former resident here. She did her fellowship here as well, and she serves as the director of our resident education program as well as mentorship. Dr. Alyssa Greenbaum, who is also one of our former residents, and you'll hear a little bit more about her later, is a surgical oncologist and runs our wellness curriculum. Dr. Rachel Danchek is a vascular surgeon. She serves as our chair of the CCC and is our newly minted program director of our vascular residency program. And Dr. Lauren McLean is in charge of simulation. She has lots of innovative high fidelity and low fidelity programs and runs our robotic surgery certification as well. Dr. Sharmila Desanake is our chair. She joined us about 18 months ago and is taking the program in really great directions. Dr. Renee Pepin is our manager of surgical education. She has a wealth of experience in the department and running educational programs and is a great resource for us. You've all met Shanoa Jennings, our excellent program coordinator, who I really couldn't run anything without her. So thank you, Shanoa. And lastly, we have Dr. Laura McKean Baste, who serves as a mentor for our prelim interns. This slide is to remind you guys that it does snow here in Albuquerque. This is a view looking east from the hospital of the Sandia Mountains with some snow on there. And we have some spectacular sunsets. So this shows both of those aspects of our great city. We have 2 major mountains here in Albuquerque, the Sandia Mountains and the Manzano Mountains, and they both form the eastern border of Albuquerque. The crest of the Sandia Mountains is at 10,600 feet, and there's a really great trail along the entire crest, which is 28 miles long. So you can hike or run at over 10,000 feet. It's quite a spectacular thing to do. Both of these mountains are part of the Cibola National Forest, and there's a ton of things to do within this forest and these mountains. Hiking, people go climbing, bouldering. On the other side of the Sandias is a ski resort, which we'll talk about a little bit about later. And one of the famous things to do here in Albuquerque is take the Sandia Peak tramway, which starts at the base of the mountains at 6,000 feet, goes all the way to the top. And up there, there's a nice visitor center, a really great restaurant. And This tramway, when it was built, was the longest tramway in the world. It's not that anymore, but it's still a pretty spectacular thing to have here. A little bit about our residents. So our current resident complement, we have 7 residents per year, and there are 2 who are out in research. Um, so Plus 5 prelim interns. So that gets us to 42 residents. 22 of our residents are women right now, and our program usually ranges between 50 to 60% women. We have 16 of our residents who self-identify as underrepresented in medicine minority groups. They've come from all over the country, did med school in 14 different states, and we have 7 international residents from, I believe, 5 different countries or 4 different countries. Here's a snapshot of some of our residents. These are the 3, 4s, and 5s. And I want to use this time to really highlight that our resident group doesn't look like a typical residency program from across the country. And that's deliberate. We are really want to emphasize having a resident group that turns into a surgical workforce that represents the community and the people that they are serving. Our patients do better when people are taking care of them who come from their community. So we have very thoughtfully and very deliberately structured our residency program to reflect our patients. These are some of the hardest working residents in the country. You won't find another group that cares more about their jobs, gets more meaning and satisfaction from their roles and what they do than this group of residents. It's not all business. We have a lot of fun. We have several resident retreats. The big picture here is us up skiing up at Santa Fe Mountain, taking a break. We've had some cooking classes. Karaoke at the American College of Surgeons meeting is a yearly tradition. And we like to have some fun with our holiday parties and ugly sweaters as well. A little bit about skiing. You've heard me talk about that a couple of times. There is a lot of skiing and snowboarding here in New Mexico. The most southern part of the Rockies end around Santa Fe in the Sangre del Cristo Mountains. So there's a lot of ski areas up there. The most famous ski area here in New Mexico is the Taos Ski Valley, where you have world-class skiing and some really steep mountains and runs up in Taos. But there's great skiing around the whole area. Up in Santa Fe, there's a mountain, Angel Fire, Sipapu, Sandia Peak right in our backyard. And there's even skiing down in the southern part of the state. So if that's something that you're interested in, this is a great place to do it. We just had a big snowstorm a couple of days ago, and Sipapu is already open. So we look forward to a really great ski season coming up. You will learn how to operate here, whether you like it or not. Our residents do a ton of cases together, and one of the hallmarks of this program is residents operating with residents. Senior residents taking mid-level residents through cases, teaching them what they know, mid-level residents taking the juniors through it, all under the supervision of their faculty. And one of these pictures here on the right, we have a 5 and a 4 operating on a trauma patient doing a vascular case with the vascular attending and trauma attending there for moral support. But we really want our residents to be learning how to do these cases independently with under the watchful eye of the faculty who are there to jump in if needed. Our These are some stats from our graduating class from last year. They averaged 50 teaching assist cases, lots of operative trauma. Trauma is one of the signature programs that we have here at the University of New Mexico. They averaged 83 operative trauma cases, and that ranges from everything in the chest, the belly, vascular, um, head lax, anything that you can think of. And that number puts us in the 95th percentile for trauma cases. It's also a really high volume vascular program. Um, Lots of open vascular here, as well as endovascular. And again, our chief's graduated of the 82 major vascular cases. Lots of thoracic surgery as well. A lot of that is on the trauma service. With the number of times that our residents rotate on the surg-onc and HBB service, they end up graduating with 21 major liver cases and 10 pancreas. Because of the way that we have things structured here with early operative exposure, residents operating with residents, you will become a master surgeon. The only way that I know that you know how to do an operation is if you can take somebody else through it. And we have you do that over and over and over again. And as you walk through the operating room and poke your head into different ORs, you'll see groups of residents operating together, figuring things out, working with fellows, with their faculty there to back them up. This is a overview of our divisions, pretty standard across our institution. These are the rotations that our residents go through, along with what levels are there. This is always subject to change. I think since I've been the program director, starting in the year 2020, we've had a different resident complement on these different rotations every year. But pretty much every service has a nice spread of senior residents, mid-level residents, and interns. Albuquerque is a really interesting city. One of the great places is our Nob Hill area and Central Avenue. This is just to the east of main campus. We have the longest urban stretch of Route 66, and the city has done has made a real effort to bring back the old vibes of Route 66 to Central Avenue and Nob Hill. So you'll see lots of neon, lots of retro appearing buildings and hotels and motels, and old filling stations, which have been converted into restaurants and bars. So Nob Hill is really close to campus. There's a ton of really great restaurants and bars there, several breweries. Every time I drive down the street, I see a new coffee roaster popping up. There's lots of vintage clothing shops, vintage jewelry shops where you can get New Mexican jewelry. New Mexican jewelry is based off of turquoise and silver. A lot of it is made by Native Americans. So you'll see some really unique and beautiful pieces that you won't find anywhere else in the country. Lots of art galleries. And one major part of New Mexican culture is tattoos and piercings. And there's plenty of places to get those down in Nob Hill. And several condos are being built and renovated in this area as well. A little bit about our education. Dr. Macbull runs our Friday resident seminar. We have protected resident education time, which really spans from 7 a.m. to around 11:30 or 12 um, every Friday. So we start out with M&M at 7 a.m., grand rounds at 8, and then the resident education seminar goes from 9 to 11. And then from 11 to 12, we'll either do a wellness activity, we'll have a town hall meeting where I'll meet with the residents and give updates and get feedback, or we have our resident advisory committee meet with the resident group. We have a few special things that we do. Um, we have a annual residents as educators course, which we run in the beginning part of the year. That's for all of the residents. We obviously have FLS and FES education and training. And for the third year residents who are going into the fourth year, we run a asset course, which is an advanced trauma dissection and procedures course, which is a cadaver lab. We do mock orals for the um, senior residents, and then there's the service conferences. I do want to highlight the robotics curriculum, which I'll come to in another slide coming up. We also have protected simulation time. Our simulation time is Thursday afternoons for a couple of hours. And in order to make this as high impact as possible, we really limit the simulation group to 1 or 2 classes at a time. So each resident probably does a simulation session once a month, but we're running something every Thursday. It's a combination of high and low fidelity simulation, and it is run by Dr. McLean overseeing the entire curriculum, but she gets all the faculty involved with running. We also have a fairly robust robotic surgery curriculum. This is a slide that I put in here for last year's presentation because we were the first institution to get the dual console Da Vinci 5 robot. And we've got a very robust and active robotics program here. And we start our residents learning how to do robotics from day one. So as a junior residence, you go through the didactics and the educational portion of it, and then you start learning how to be a first assist at the bedside, swapping out the instruments, and then you start your console training. And our goal is to get the residents fully independent and operating on the robot by the third and fourth year, so that you can really become a proficient robotic surgeon. And we have our own robotics certification, which goes above and beyond the certification offered by the manufacturers of these robots. Another really unique aspect of our program is our wellness program. This was developed by residents who were in the program at the time, Alyssa Greenbaum, who's now our Associate Program Director, and Rebecca Williams-Karniski. This has been termed the Core 7 Wellness Curriculum, and is fully integrated into our Friday resident seminar. We follow the domains of wellness model, focusing on the physical, social, emotional, spiritual, occupational, financial, intellectual domains of wellness. This is not just doing yoga and having pizza parties. This is a well thought out curriculum, which Dr. Greenbaum is a local leader and nationally known for developing this program. Some of the top line items on this is we do have quarterly wellness half days where residents can take um, time to go do things that you don't have time to do otherwise. Go see the dentist, go see your primary care doctor, go get your oil changed. And you can use this for yourself or for your families as well. We also give a stipend of some wellness money, which we really want you to use to like get a gym membership, buy some free weights, get a meditation app, something that can really help enhance your wellness. As far as the curriculum goes, Dr. Greenbaum meets every year with the residents to ask them what they want to hear about, what they want to focus on. And we try to have sessions which cover all these domains of wellness. Some examples of things that we have done recently. We have a focus on ergonomics. So we've had occupational therapists and physical therapists come and work with the residents and show you how best to hold your body and stand in the operating room to minimize injury. We've done electronic medical record efficiency training. We have focused on financial management. So we've had our own faculty give you talks on some financial planning, disability insurance, how to do contract negotiation. Um, and then we have some mindfulness training. We have ethics rounds, all these things which help develop our residents into fully formed human beings. All right, I do want to pause here and talk a little bit about the weather and climate here in Albuquerque. And I'll say that the weather here is perfect. People think that we are Arizona, that we're Phoenix, that it's hot all the time. We are at elevation. We are in a high desert climate. We're at over 5,000 feet. Some parts of the city are at 5,600 feet. So that really tempers our weather. We don't have extreme hot. We don't have extreme cold. Um, Kind of the hottest it gets is about 100 degrees for a week in the summer. Most of the time, it's in the 90s. In the winter, we do get snow, and in the morning, it's maybe 20 degrees, but by the time the afternoon rolls around, you're back up to 60. Um, so you do get to experience all four seasons here, but it is the best parts of all those seasons. A little bit about research. All of our residents participate in research to varying degrees. We do have an option for residents to go out into the lab for 2 years. This is usually after the PGY 3 year. We typically send one resident per year, but this upcoming year, I think we're going to have two. There's lots of opportunities for research. You can stay here on campus or go to other institutions. We have several basic science labs that our residents can participate in. The most active one is within our vascular division. Dr. Clark and Dr. Ruma have a lab called the Vessel Lab, where they're on the cutting edge of vascular research and tissue regeneration. We also have a new partnership with Basic Scientists who is studying trauma resuscitation. So there's a lot of basic science opportunities, especially the opportunity to get NIH funding to do your research. If you want to go off campus, we have had several residents go to other institutions and secure funding for research. And we are extremely willing to support that as well. We will also support our residents to get advanced degrees. One of our residents right now who is out in her research time is getting her PhD. And the department is helping support that. For everybody else who is not going out into research time, there's plenty of opportunities. We have a very robust surgery research club for the department and lots of opportunities across the different divisions to do clinical studies. We have lots of work in education research. And one area that we are uniquely set up to do research on is healthcare disparities. This is a slide that has a few pictures from Santa Fe. Santa Fe is our state capital. It's about 45 minutes north of here, so it's a really quick drive. The picture up in the upper left corner is the famous and historic Santa Fe Plaza. There are lots of restaurants and shops on the plaza, as well as the governor's palace, where you can go pretty much any day of the year. And there are Native American artisans there selling directly to you, great art, jewelry, and other crafts. Um, there is lots of great restaurants in Santa Fe and art. So the upper right-hand picture is one of the galleries on Canyon Road. Canyon Road is a world-famous place to see and buy art. Santa Fe is the #3 art destination in the country, believe it or not, right after New York and LA. And it's also becoming one of the most visited places in the country. Down in the bottom right corner is a picture of the St. Francis Cathedral, one of the oldest cathedrals in the state from the 1600s. And there are several other very famous churches and cathedrals around town, including the Loretto Chapel with the famous stairs. And then that bottom picture here is of Meow Wolf, which is a essentially an interactive art funhouse done by one of our local art collectives. They've actually really expanded across the country. There's Meow Wolf locations in Texas and Denver and Las Vegas, but the original one is here in Santa Fe. So as I mentioned about Santa Fe, there's a ton of art. There's world-class dining. The Santa Fe Opera is close by and is a phenomenal place to go see the opera. And also they have lots of concerts out there and an outdoor open air venue. You can go visit the George O'Keeffe Museum, which is being newly renovated. And then there's tons of things to do at the plaza. Oh, and if you love spas, there's a innumerable number of spas up in Santa Fe. All right, so what happens after you're done with your residency? This is a map that I just updated this afternoon of the places that our residents have gone since 2017. The green push pins are residents who have gone into community practice. About 9 of them or 10 of them have stayed in New Mexico, mostly here in Albuquerque. And then the red ones are fellowship locations. So you can see we've really spread our graduates across the country, and they're all proudly representing our residency program. So here's some more granular data. This is just for the last 5 years. So 10 residents have gone directly into community practice. 4 of them here in Albuquerque. 2 are down in Alamogordo, New Mexico, which is one of our rotation sites. 2 are out in California, 2 in Oklahoma City. They're actually partners together, and 1 up in Bismarck. And then our fellowships, the most common fellowships that our residents go into are acute care surgery, surgical critical care, vascular surgery, and MIS, but we have had recent graduates in endocrine, cardiothoracic, colorectal, and plastics. These are our graduating chief residents. Four of them are going into community practice. Dr. Giacolone is in the process of looking for a job, most likely going to stay here locally. Dr. Hayter is going to be staying in Albuquerque. Dr. Keffer is going up to Santa Fe, as is Dr. Wright. And then three of our chiefs are doing fellowships. Dr. Hanif is going to the Mayo Clinic up in Rochester to do vascular. Dr. Lerma is headed to Kansas City to do minimally invasive and bariatrics. And Dr. Vivens is going to Iowa to do a breast fellowship. Another thing about New Mexico that a lot of people don't realize is that we are really turning into a, I guess, Hollywood East. There is a very strong presence of movies and TV here in Albuquerque. Everybody knows that Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul were filmed here, but there's lots of other TV shows and movies that are filmed in Albuquerque. And as you're driving around town, you'll see these movie sets set up across town, filming really iconic locations across town. And if you have the acting bug, you can sign up at some of the studios that we have in town to become an extra. And a couple of our faculty have actually landed some extra parts in some of these series. A little bit about the benefits that you have here at UNM. So one unique aspect of our program is that we do have a house staff union that negotiates directly with the GME office for benefits. And I'm pretty sure over the last decade, every year they have gotten raises. All residents have access to on-site parking, get money for food. We have a holiday comp day program. So there are 9 holidays that if you work, you can either get extra money or an extra day off. Most of them are centered around this time of year. So we've got Thanksgiving and Black Friday as comp days, Christmas Eve and Christmas, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So if you work any of those, you are entitled to an extra day off. Residents are all part of the UNM healthcare plan. And one unique aspect about New Mexico, and is something that was recently instituted, I believe, on the 1st of November, is a universal childcare program here in New Mexico. So anybody who lives in New Mexico and has kids is eligible for this universal childcare program. We are still learning all the details of this, but the GME office is happy to help residents get all of this stuff set up. In addition, we offer memberships to the American College of Surgeons and SAGES. I forgot to put that on the slide for all of our residents. So you are an automatic member of ACS and SAGES. And we also have an institutional membership to the Association of Women Surgeons, and that's open to all the residents who want to join that as well. You have a yearly education account, which you can use to purchase books and go to meetings. And when you are on the night float rotation, you do get $100 a night for wellness money. And then we offer surgical loops to all of the second-year residents from the program. Balloon Fiesta. So this is one of the most unique and wonderful things that we have here in Albuquerque. This is usually in the first week of October. This is the largest gathering of hot air balloons in the world. It sounds weird and it sounds corny, but until you go and experience it yourself, you don't really know what you're missing out on. This is one of the most spectacular things that we have, one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced in my life. This is the only year in 10 that I haven't gone, and I really miss this part of the fall. You are out on the grounds where all these hot air balloons are being um, unpacked, unfurled, blown up, and launching, and you get a really close view for one of the most spectacular things. Photographs don't do it any justice. It is something that definitely needs to be seen. A little bit about Albuquerque. We have a fairly low cost of living here in Albuquerque. The housing market isn't as soft as it used to be, but a lot of residents still own houses around town. The airport is extremely close. It's only 10 minutes from campus, so you can you've got easy access to get in and out of the city. We have a lot of sports here. We've got great college sports. The UNM football team is actually good for the first time in about 20 years. And we've got great college basketball at the pit. Basketball season just started. My son and I have season tickets and we don't miss a game. But if we do end up having to miss a game, we usually send one of our residents there in our place. It's an iconic venue. It gets very, very loud, and it's one of the more fun places to see a basketball game in the country. We also have minor league baseball and soccer, and they just announced a minor league hockey team starting up in Rio Rancho. Um, Nob Hill is an up and coming place. I talked a little bit about that earlier. There are really, really great restaurants at every price point here in Albuquerque, and lots of great food from all over the world and all over the country. This is an international city, and you can get any food that you want, including pretty good sushi here in the middle of the desert. Red and green chili remains a highlight of the city and of the state. You can't avoid it, and nor should you. And we are surrounded by different pueblos, and there's lots of great casinos at all of those places too. So if that's something you're interested in, you can always find someone to go play with. All right, that ends our presentation. I really look forward to meeting each and every one of you and talking in more detail about our great program, our beautiful city, and our wonderful state. Um, Hope you learned something and enjoy the rest of your day.